Hey guys, this is Tim, CrossFit San Ramon. Last time we talked to you a little bit about functional versus structural scoliosis, and today I'm just going to dive in just a little bit into the postural stresses that we want to become aware of and start dealing with first off as you get into that. So what are postural stresses that I'm talking about? Those are going to be any position that you're in for a long time. And so where do we run into trouble with postural stress? The first one is actually sleeping. And so if we look at sleeping, as I'm sleeping, if my bed is too soft, then the rib cage can drop down into that bed. If my pillow's a little too high, the bed's a little too soft, or vice versa, if my pillow's too small and the head and the bed is harder, it can push the ribs in the other direction. We can help alleviate some of this by utilizing things like a body pillow or something to change that, or in some cases, getting a different bed or a different topper on your bed to change some of that. But it's one of the things you want to pay attention to. Sleep on your right side, the bed's soft, and your scoliosis bends you to the right side. You may want to look at doing something to alleviate that type of stress and to actually reverse it a little bit if possible. So you're using your sleeping time to actually help correct rather than to go deeper into the problem. Another one that's really common is working. And so as we're working, this is the primary reason I'm sitting down for this video today, is I can look at things where scoliosis is not only side bending, but it's also rotational in its nature. And so a lot of times as I'm working, I'll see people who look at their computer screen on one side, they'll have their keyboard the other way, or they're looking at their keyboard, their computer screen's here, and they're just turning their head back and forth. And so they've got their body twisted as they work. And so these are things that can start to build up stress. So make sure the ergonomics of your work or school setup, that you're sitting where you've got your body lined up properly and not working into that. The other thing is, like with school desks, a lot of times it'll have that little arm rest. And if I'm leaning onto that arm rest over here on the side, then I'm going to end up, again, creating a bend in the torso. If that's playing into the scoliosis, we want to become very aware of that, start making corrections for things like that. Driving, you'll see a lot of times people like to tuck the brake foot under and reach the gas pedal, the foot out, pull their seat too far back, and that rotation in the hip is going to create rotation through the upper body. And maybe I'm leaning on the armrest with my arm up here. If that's playing the wrong way into that, that can help exacerbate the scoliosis. So those are some key things in the postural stresses. Also, as you stand, hopefully I won't come out of the screen as I stand up here, but I'm going to stand up here. And as we go into this, if you're standing on one foot here with most of your weight on the one foot, my hip comes out here, I'll tend to drop that shoulder, and look what happens to the spinal position. And so if my scoliosis is going in that direction, I'd want to avoid that, and I can actually use doing the exact same thing in the opposite direction as somewhat of a therapeutic. And so these are things I want to just start to be aware of, your postural positions, and thinking about how you can use the postural positions to help you reverse it rather than drive you deeper in. Hope that helps. Have a great day.